Earth, 2387 CE. The day the galaxy went quiet, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching the last transmission from the Galactic Council flicker and die. For 300 years, humanity had begged for membership in the Council, a union of 47 alien civilizations that ruled the galaxy. They had been rejected every time. Too violent, the Council had said. Too unpredictable. Too dangerous. Now, as reports flooded in from every human colony and outpost, one thing became clear. The galaxy had abandoned them. Every trade route was closed. Every diplomatic channel was silent. Every alien embassy had evacuated overnight. Dr. Lisa Park, Earth's lead xenobiologist, stared at the empty screens in the communications center. "It's like they just vanished," she whispered. 47 civilizations, gone in 12 hours. The abandonment was complete. No warnings, no explanations, no goodbyes. Humanity found itself alone in a galaxy that had turned its back on them. Supply ships from alien worlds stopped coming. The great trade stations that connected the galaxy's civilizations powered down their human-accessible sectors. Even the neutral zones became off-limits. Admiral Tom Hayes called an emergency session of the Earth Defense Council. Representatives from Mars, Europa, Titan, and the outer colonies gathered via hologram. The mood was grim. "We're cut off," Hayes announced. "Every hyperspace lane monitored by Council forces is now restricted. They've built a wall around us, and we're on the wrong side." Commissioner Alex Rivera from the Mars colony spoke first. "Our food imports from the Centauri system have stopped. We have maybe 6 months of reserves. Medical supplies from the vegan worlds are gone too," added Dr. Emily Watson from Europa. "Critical medicines that we can't make ourselves." The abandonment wasn't just economic, it was strategic. Humanity's expansion had been guided by alien technology, alien maps, alien knowledge. Without that support, they were trapped in a small bubble of space, surrounded by the vast unknown. But Jake Morrison had seen something in the final transmission that others had missed. In the last moments before the Council's message cut out, he had caught a glimpse of fear in the alien ambassador's eyes. Not disgust, not anger, fear. "They're not abandoning us because we're weak," Jake told his crew later that night. "They're abandoning us because they're afraid of what we might become." The evidence was scattered across decades of rejected applications. Every time humanity had applied for Council membership, they had been turned down for the same reasons. Their rapid technological advancement, their adaptability, their refusal to accept limitations. The galaxy's older civilizations had watched humanity grow from a single world to a dozen colonies in just 2 centuries. They had seen humans thrive in environments that would kill most species. Over the following weeks, the full scope of the abandonment became clear. 47 alien civilizations had formed a quarantine around human space. They had taken every precaution to ensure humanity could not expand beyond their current borders. Ancient jump gates that had connected human colonies to the wider galaxy were shut down. Star charts that showed safe passage through dangerous regions were wiped from every database. The galaxy had made its choice. Humanity would be contained, isolated, and left to fade away in their small corner of space. But the galaxy had made one critical error. They had assumed that abandonment would break humanity's spirit. They had believed that isolation would make humans give up their dreams of reaching the stars. They had thought that cutting off trade and technology would force humanity to turn inward and stagnate. They were wrong. In the depths of the Kuiper Belt, and a research station that most people had forgotten existed, Dr. Mark Chun was working on something that would change everything. For 20 years, he had been studying the fundamental nature of hyperspace travel, trying to understand how junk gates worked without relying on alien technology. The night the galaxy went silent, Chun made a breakthrough he discovered that hyperspace wasn't just a tool for faster travel. It was a dimension that could be manipulated, controlled, and marked. Where aliens had built roads through hyperspace, humans could build something else entirely. They could build walls. As news of the abandonment spread through human space, something unexpected happened. Instead of despair, there was anger. Instead of surrender, there was determination. Humanity had been rejected, isolated, and written off as unworthy. The galaxy was about to learn that there was a difference between being abandoned and being unleashed. Jake Morrison stood at his command console, looking out at the stars that had been forbidden to his species. He keyed in a message to be sent to every human colony, every outpost, every ship in space. They drew a line around us, he said. Now we're going to draw our own line across the stars. Asterisk human space, 6 months after the abandonment. The research station in the Kuiper Belt had become the most important facility in human space. Dr. Mark Chun's breakthrough had attracted the brightest minds from every colony. They called it Project Longline, humanity's first attempt to build their own hyperspace infrastructure. Captain Jake Morrison arrived at the station aboard the UES Defiant, now converted from a patrol ship to a deep space research vessel. The station buzzed with activity as engineers and scientists worked around the clock. They had 6 months to solve a problem that had taken alien civilizations thousands of years to master. "Show me what you've got," Jake said to Chun as they walked through the main laboratory. Chun led him to a massive holographic display showing the local star systems. "The aliens built their jump gates like highways," he explained. "Point A to Point B, following established routes. But we're not building highways." The display shifted, showing streams of energy flowing between stars in complex patterns. "We're building a web. Each hyperspace anchor doesn't just connect 2 points. It connects to every other anchor in the network. One system goes down, the others adapt. It's not just transportation, it's communication, defense, and expansion all in one." Jake studied the display. "How long until we can test it?" "Dr. Anna Foster's team just finished the first anchor prototype," Chun replied. "We're ready for field testing." The prototype was installed on a small asteroid near Pluto. Unlike the elegant alien jump gates, the human hyperspace anchor looked crude and industrial, a mass of crystalline matrices and power conduits that pulsed with blue energy. But it worked. The first test was simple: sending a probe to Alpha Centauri and back. The probe disappeared into hyperspace and returned 3 minutes later with data that made everyone on the station hold their breath. The journey had taken 30 seconds faster than any alien technology on record. But speed wasn't the real breakthrough. The probe had carried something else, a hyperspace marker, an invisible beacon that claimed that section of hyperspace for humanity. "They built roads," Sean said, grinning. "We built territory." News of the successful test spread through human space like wildfire. Every colony, every outpost, every ship captain wanted to know when they would get their own hyperspace anchor. The answer came from an unexpected source: the military. Admiral Tom Hayes had been quietly building a new kind of fleet. Where the old Earth Defense Force had focused on protecting human space, the new expansion fleet was designed for one purpose: claiming new territory as fast as possible. The ships were built around the hyperspace anchor technology. Each vessel carried the components needed to establish a new node in the growing network. They were part explorer, part construction crew, part military unit. Hayes called them line ships, vessels that drew humanity's line across the stars. Captain Sarah Mills commanded the first line ship squadron. Her ship, the UESA Pioneer, was half the size of a traditional battleship, but carried 10 times the industrial capacity. Her mission was simple: establish hyperspace anchors in every unclaimed system within 50 light-years of Earth. The squadron's first target was the Ross 128 system, a red dwarf star with 3 planets that had been marked as uninhabitable by alien surveys. The Pioneer emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the system and immediately began deploying survey drones. "System appears empty," reported Lieutenant David Park, the ship's sensor operator. "No alien installations, no energy signatures, no signs of recent activity." Mills nodded. "Begin anchor deployment. Let's claim our first star." The hyperspace anchor was installed on the largest asteroid in the system's belt. As it powered up, something remarkable happened. The anchor didn't just connect Ross 128 to the Sol system. It connected to every other anchor in the network, creating a web of human-controlled hyperspace. It grew stronger with each new addition. Back on Earth, the mood had changed completely. The despair of abandonment had been replaced by something the galaxy had never seen from humans before: unified purpose. Every colony contributed resources to the expansion fleet. Every scientist worked on improving the anchor technology. Every citizen understood that humanity's survival depended on claiming territory faster than the aliens could react. The breakthrough came when Dr. Chun discovered that the hyperspace web could carry more than just ships and messages. It could carry intent, purpose, and something the aliens had never encountered: a species-wide declaration of ownership. Each new anchor sent a signal through hyperspace that was impossible to ignore. It said, in a language that transcended words, "This space belongs to humanity. We were here. We claimed it. We will defend it." The galaxy had abandoned humanity, expecting them to fade away in isolation. Instead, they had given humans the motivation to build something that had never existed before. A hyperspace network that grew stronger with each expansion, that adapted to threats, and that marked human territory in a way that couldn't be erased. The aliens had drawn a line around humanity. Now humanity was drawing their own line across the stars. And with each passing day, that line grew longer. Asterisk Kepler 442 system. 1 year after the abandonment, the alien ship appeared without warning in the Kepler 442 system, just as Captain Sarah. Mills was overseeing the installation of humanity's 15th hyperspace anchor. The vessel was sleek and organic-looking, typical of the Altari species, one of the founding members of the Galactic Council. "Unknown vessel. This is Captain Mills of the UESIS Pioneer." She transmitted on standard frequencies. "You are in claimed human territory. State your purpose." The response came after a long pause, translated through universal communication protocols. "Human vessel. I am Commander Vel of the Altari Confederation." This system was surveyed and catalogued by Council forces. "Your presence here is ... unexpected." Mills felt a cold smile cross her face. "Commander Vel, this system was claimed by humanity through right of expansion. We have established permanent installations and territorial markers. If you have business here, you will need to request permission." The silence that followed lasted nearly 10 minutes. Mills could imagine the alien commander trying to process what he was hearing. For 3 centuries, humans had been the ones asking permission. Now the roles were reversed. "Captain Mills," Vel finally responded, "the Council does not recognize human territorial claims beyond your original borders. You must cease these activities immediately." "The Council abandoned us," Mills replied. "They cut off all contact, all trade, all diplomatic relations. They drew a line around us and told us to stay inside it." "Well, Commander, we've drawn our own line now." What happened next changed everything. The Altari ship moved toward the hyperspace anchor, presumably to scan or disable it. But as it approached, something unprecedented occurred. The anchor's energy field expanded, and the alien ship found itself trapped in a web of hyperspace distortion. "What have you done?" Vel demanded, panic creeping into his voice. Dr. Chan's voice came over the com from the research station. "It's a territorial defense system. Any non-human vessel that approaches without permission, it's caught in a hyperspace loop. The ship is fine, but it can't move until we release it." Mills keyed her comm to address the trapped alien. "Commander Vel, you're experiencing humanity's approach to border security. Your ship will be released once you acknowledge our territorial claim and agree to peaceful withdrawal." The implications were staggering. Humans hadn't just built a transportation network, they had weaponized hyperspace itself. Every anchor in the growing web was both a gateway and a fortress. The aliens' own technology couldn't counter it because it was based on completely different principles. Back on Earth, the news of the first contact spread rapidly. Admiral Hayes called an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. The holographic displays showed the current extent of human expansion: 23 star systems, each protected by hyperspace anchors that grew stronger as the network expanded. "They're testing us," Hayes said grimly. "The Altari ship was a scout. They want to see what we've built, how we defend it." Commissioner Rivera from Mars leaned forward. "Are we ready for a confrontation?" "We're ready for defense," Hayes replied. "But this isn't about fighting. It's about establishing a new reality. The galaxy ignored us when we were weak. Now they have to deal with us as equals." The standoff in Kepler 442 lasted 3 days. Commander Vel's ship remained trapped in the hyperspace web while more alien vessels gathered at the edge of the system. Representatives from 6 different council species arrived, trying to understand what humans had accomplished. During those 3 days, something remarkable happened throughout human space. Every colony, every outpost, every research station began working together with unprecedented coordination. The hyperspace web didn't just connect their territories, it connected their people. Messages, resources, and ideas flowed between star systems in real-time. Dr. Lisa Park, now directing the xenobiology program from Luna Station, made a crucial observation. "They're not just surprised by our technology," she reported. "They're surprised by our unity. Council species compete with each other, even within their alliance. We're acting as one species with one purpose." The breakthrough came when Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding the exploration vessel UES Pathfinder, made an offer that changed the nature of the standoff. Instead of simply releasing the Altari ship, he proposed something unprecedented: a formal first contact protocol between equals. "Commander Veal," Morrison transmitted, "humanity extends an offer of diplomatic recognition. We acknowledge your species' sovereignty in your territory. In exchange, we ask for recognition of our territorial claims and the right to expand into unclaimed systems." The response took 12 hours, clearly requiring consultation with the Galactic Council. When it came, Vel's voice carried a tone of grudging respect. "Captain Morrison, the Altari Confederation acknowledges human territorial claims in the systems you currently occupy. We request the establishment of formal diplomatic protocols." Mills released the Altari ship from the hyperspace web, but the message was clear. Humanity was no longer asking for permission. They were offering negotiation between equals. The galaxy had abandoned humanity, expecting them to fade away. Instead, they had created the first truly unified human civilization, backed by technology that even the Council couldn't fully understand. The line humanity drew across the stars was no longer just a boundary. It was a declaration of independence. Council. Space and human territory. 18 months after the abandonment, the emergency session of the Galactic Council convened on Nexus Prime, the ancient capital world that had governed the galaxy for over 10,000 years. Representatives from all 47 member species gathered in the vast chamber. their forms ranging from crystalline beings to gas-based entities to traditional bipedal species. High Chancellor Theron of the Nexari, the Council's oldest member, species, addressed the assembly with barely contained alarm. In 18 months, the humans have expanded from 12 systems to 47. They now control territory equal to some of our founding members. The holographic display showed the growing web of human hyperspace anchors spreading across previously unclaimed space. What disturbed the Council most wasn't just the speed of expansion, it was the nature of it. Humans weren't following established hyperspace routes. They were creating new ones, connecting systems that had never been linked before. Ambassador Krell of the Vorthan Empire, known for their military prowess, stood to address the chamber. We attempted to establish monitoring posts in 3 systems claimed by humans. All of our vessels were captured by their hyperspace web technology. They were released only after we agreed to their territorial boundaries. A murmur of unease rippled through the chamber. For millennia, the Council had maintained order through superior technology and established protocols. The idea that a single species could develop something they couldn't counter was unprecedented. They're not just expanding, observed Dr. Zena of the Aquatic Collective, one of the Council's most brilliant scientists. They're creating a completely new form of galactic civilization. Their hyperspace network allows instantaneous communication and resource sharing across dozens of star systems. They're becoming more unified as they expand, not less. The truth was becoming clear to the Council. Their strategy of abandonment had backfired spectacularly. Instead of containing humanity, they had unleashed something far more dangerous. Species with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Meanwhile, in human space, the transformation was remarkable. The city of New Geneva on Mars had become the unofficial capital of humanity's expanding civilization. The halls buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of worlds coordinated the greatest expansion in human history. Admiral Hayes stood before a massive holographic map showing human territory. "We now control 73 star systems," he announced to the gathered fleet commanders. "Each new anchor makes the entire network stronger. We're not just claiming territory, we're rewriting the rules of galactic civilization." Captain Morrison, now promoted to Admiral and commanding the Exploration Division, pointed to the outer edges of human space. "Our scout ships report that several Council species are evacuating border systems. They're creating a buffer zone between their territory and ours." The implications were staggering. The galaxy's established powers weren't just acknowledging human expansion, they were retreating from it. The species that had once dismissed humans as too primitive for Council membership were now treating them as a threat to galactic stability. Dr. Chun, now director of the Hyperspace Research Division, had discovered something even more significant. "The network is evolving," he reported. "Each new anchor doesn't just connect to the existing web, it improves it. The system is becoming more efficient, more powerful, more responsive with every expansion." The breakthrough came when human scientists realized that their hyperspace network was doing something unprecedented. It was learning. Each interaction with alien technology, each defensive activation, each new connection added to the system's knowledge base. Humanity wasn't just building a transportation network. They were creating a form of distributed intelligence that spanned the stars. The Council's response was swift and predictable. They issued an ultimatum: halt expansion or face economic sanctions from all member species. The human response was equally swift and entirely unexpected. President Helen Cross, speaking from the United Earth Assembly, addressed the galaxy directly through every communication channel available. The Galactic Council abandoned humanity when we needed them most. They cut off trade, severed diplomatic relations, and tried to confine us to a small corner of space. We survived, we adapted, we thrived. Her words were transmitted through the human hyperspace network and intercepted by every major civilization in the galaxy. The Council offers sanctions against a species they claim doesn't exist in their economy. They threaten military action against territory they say has no legal standing. They demand we halt expansion into space they insist belongs to no one. The President's final statement sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Humanity rejects the Council's authority over human space. We claim the right of expansion, the right of self-determination, and the right to exist as equals in this galaxy. The Council drew a line around us. We've drawn our own line across the stars. Anyone who wishes to cross it peacefully is welcome. Anyone who wishes to cross it with hostile intent will discover that humanity is no longer asking for permission. The galaxy had abandoned humanity, expecting them to fade away. Instead, they had created the first truly independent spacefaring civilization in 10,000 years. The line humanity drew across the stars wasn't just a boundary. It was a declaration that the age of Council dominance was ending. Asterisk the galaxy. 2 years after the abandonment, the first shots of what historians would later call the Boundary War were fired in the Vega system, a Council enforcement fleet led by the militaristic Cortex species, attempted to destroy a human hyperspace anchor before it could be fully activated. They discovered too late that attacking one anchor meant attacking them all. The moment the Cortex weapons struck the Vega anchor, every hyperspace node in human space responded. The network didn't just defend itself, it retaliated. Cortex ships found themselves trapped in hyperspace loops, their weapons disabled, their crews unharmed, but completely helpless. Admiral Morrison, now commanding the human defense fleet from the U's Sovereignty, watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Send a message to the Cortex fleet commander," he ordered. "Their vessels will be released when they withdraw from human space and acknowledge our territorial boundaries." But the Cortex response changed everything. Instead of withdrawing, they sent a desperate transmission to the Galactic Council. "The humans have weaponized hyperspace itself. Our entire fleet is trapped. We cannot break free. Send reinforcements immediately." The Council's response was swift and massive. Battle fleets from 12 different species converged on human space, the largest military force assembled in over 1,000 years. They expected to find a young species hiding behind defensive technology. Instead, they found something that would reshape galactic politics forever. As the Council fleets approached human territory, they encountered something unprecedented, a unified response from every human world simultaneously. The hyperspace network allowed instant coordination across dozens of star systems. When the Council attacked one human outpost, they found themselves fighting a species that responded as one organism. Captain Sarah Mills, now commanding the Deep Space Defense Grid, coordinated the human response from the frontier. "They're used to fighting individual species," she reported to Admiral Hayes. "They've never faced a civilization that can coordinate across interstellar distances in real time." The war that followed lasted only 6 months, but it changed the galaxy forever. The Council's superior numbers and advanced weapons meant nothing against a foe that could predict their movements, coordinate perfect defensive responses, and trap entire fleets in hyperspace webs. But the real victory came when Dr. Chon made a discovery that stunned both sides. The human hyperspace network hadn't just been learning from each encounter. It had been mapping the entire galactic hyperspace infrastructure. Every Council jump gate, every trade route, every military supply line was now visible to human forces. "We don't just control our own territory," Chon reported to the assembled human leadership. "We can see theirs. We can monitor their movements, predict their strategies, and if necessary, shut down their hyperspace travel entirely." The implications were staggering. The galaxy's established powers suddenly realized they were completely transparent to species they had tried to abandon. Humanity could see every council military movement, every trade shipment, every diplomatic communication that traveled through hyperspace. The war ended not with a great battle, but with a simple demonstration. On a date that would become known as Independence Day throughout human space, every council jump gate in the galaxy shut down for exactly 1 hour. No weapons were fired, no ships were damaged, no lives were lost. But the message was unmistakable. Humanity now controlled the very foundation of galactic civilization. High Chancellor Theron himself traveled to the Mars system to negotiate the end of hostilities. The meeting took place aboard the UES Pathfinder, with Captain Jake Morrison serving as humanity's primary representative. "The Council offers a formal treaty," Theron began, his ancient voice carrying the weight of millennia. "Recognition of human territorial claims, full diplomatic status, and membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and privileges." Morrison leaned back in his chair, a slight smile crossing his face. "High Chancellor, with respect, the Council had their chance to offer humanity membership. You chose abandonment instead. We chose independence." The treaty that emerged from those negotiations established something unprecedented in galactic history. A truly equal relationship between humanity and the Council. Human space would remain independent, but would cooperate with Council forces on matters of mutual interest. Trade routes would be established. Diplomatic exchanges would resume. But humanity would never again be supplicants begging for recognition. President Cross addressed the galaxy one final time, her words transmitted through both human and Council communication networks. 2 years ago, you abandoned us because you feared what we might become. You were right to fear us, not because we're violent or destructive, but because we represent something you've never seen, a species that refuses to accept limitations. As the celebrations erupted across human space, from Earth to the outer colonies, the galaxy settled into a new reality. The line humanity had drawn across the stars wasn't just a boundary, it was the foundation of a new galactic order where humanity stood as equals among the stars. The galaxy had abandoned humanity, expecting them to fade away in isolation. Instead, they had created the most powerful and unified civilization the galaxy had ever seen. The line across the stars would forever mark the day humanity stopped asking for permission and started making their own rules. The end asterisk.